What's up, everybody?
Hello, hello.
Welcome. Yeah, welcome back to another dope episode.
Double welcomes.
Double welcomes. Two welcomes. It's like 2 Chainz. Anyway, today, well, before all that, please go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the follow button, notification, all that good stuff, and keep us going.
Yeah.
Today, we're talking to you about a building that we feel is so important to Chicago history.
Yes.
And we are talking, and honestly, it's got a name that's from our rival, the New York Life Building. And if you've never heard of it, that's what we're here for. We're gonna tell you about it because I didn't pay attention to it. Right now, we are in the financial district.
Yeah.
By 39 South LaSalle.
It's a really cool strip of buildings.
Yes.
I feel like the architectural detail is crazy on them.
Yes. It was started by William LeBaron-Jenney, which William LeBaron-Jenney, you probably know him as the architect, landscape architecture.
Right.
Architect. But
he in fact is not architect.
Yeah, right. But what you probably didn't know is that he was also an actual architect that had buildings. He had 2 buildings that he was pretty known for. Yeah, and this is one of them. We're gonna turn around so we can show you this. There you got. What are you doing?
I'm ducking out
Don't
of
duck. You good?
Out of the phone.
This is the New York Life Building right here behind us, and we're gonna tell you why this is perhaps the most important building to Chicago history. Let's get it.
Wow, that's a claim.
That's a claim.
Let's go.
All right, let's put you on game as to why this building, I made such a bold claim right here, LaSalle and Monroe. Yeah, so to give you some backstory, this building was created in 1893, and it was built
Cool year.
Yes, a very cool year, and ironic that it's called the New York Life Building. It was actually the New York Life Insurance Company that moved into this building. And that year was the Columbian Exposition. New York, we beat them out for having that building. So pretty dope.
Yeah.
Now, here's why it's important, right? So New York Life Insurance Building had already been here, but when they decided to build a building, right, this building is claimed to be the first building in the world to have the steel skeleton frame type building.
Okay.
Also, the building is not brick loaded, right?
Okay.
So the frame is attached, ironclad. The materials on all the brick are attached several floors up.
Oh.
So it's not, the bricks that are down there
Yeah.
are not even attached to the building. The frame, exactly. So crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that building right there is one of the first ones in Chicago, and that's called Chicago style construction. And William LeBaron-Jenney really wanted to make something of that building. Matter of fact, if you look right there, the first floor of that building is actually 2 stories high.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 stories high, and that
It
is
almost looks like the building separates.
Yes.
Even the color after those second
We'll
floors
get to
are
that.
different.
We'll get to that because that's also important to this. But yes, this is considered the first building of its kind in the world, and it really paved the way for how steel skeleton buildings are. And Chicago has a ton of them. Matter of fact, where we are right now on this little strip of LaSalle is considered the first school of Chicago architecture, and school in a think
Those
of fish.
two words
Think of
make
yeah. Think of fish, right?
Okay.
Fish, you call a school of fish, a bunch of fish. Well, this was a bunch of buildings that had significance in
Chicago
the
architecture
yeah,
style.
right. So this is considered the first school, and William LeBaron-Jenney was part of that. Now, there's something else very interesting about this building, and for that, I'm gonna continue on the other side. Let's go.
Okay.
All right, so I told you that this building was built in 3 phases starting in 1893. Phase 1 was what we showed you on the LaSalle side of the street. Now, when the building was built, it was 12 stories high. So I've showed you pictures and video, 12 stories high. And 4 years later, 1898, they added an entirely second building attached to this. So when they did that, you can see, and actually, I'm not gonna show you here. We're standing between it, but like, look
Yeah.
on the screen. I took video of me pointing to the
To the
seam.
split,
Yeah,
yeah.
the seam of the building. Not only did they add a whole entire building on the Monroe side, but they added a 13th floor to the top of it. The other really cool thing about that is that they added in 1903, so 10 years later, they were still working on it. They added a 14th floor
Wow.
to this building.
And you can kind of, I mean,
Yeah, you can kind of see.
you can't really tell, but
Yeah.
you can kind of.
Yeah.
Like the design of the two floors above it look a little,
Just
like
a
the
slightly
motif
different.
is a little different
Little
on the
different.
border of the top of the floor.
A very, very
So,
good observation,
yeah.
which is gonna bring me to my next point of this building. Let's continue. All right, we got the building right behind us. For this last part, now the whole building we said is skeletal, the steel skeleton, which was revolutionary. And when they were trying to pitch this, to the world, really, this was a new design. And
Right.
Even New York Life building, like the company, was actually putting in publications saying, "Hey,
Wow.
this is a good idea. This is something brand new that hasn't been done before." And Chicago construction really took off from there. The thing that allowed this building to be what it was is it wasn't the first, but it was like the main building to actually start using terracotta.
Right.
So to your point of it looking different,
Yeah.
that's because the terracotta was using, because it was so light, and because now this became essentially the skin of the building where it was attached to the metal and not load bearing.
Right.
It was cheaper, it was more efficient, it was faster. It only took them 10 weeks
Wow.
to get the terracotta put on there.
Wow.
That's how fast they can move. Not only that,
And look, you can kind of see, like, if you look down here, you can see it's light and then it
Yeah.
gets darker up top.
exactly. And not only was it cheaper, lighter, faster, it's also fireproof. And coming after, the Chicago fire, which the New York Life Insurance was here already
Wow.
and had presence during the Chicago fire. And so this was also kind of a thing to be like, hey,
Well, they followed ordinance.
well,
right?
yeah, that was 20 years later, but
Right.
like, how do we build a skyscraper? Because we were building like the smaller buildings, but skyscrapers,
Right.
again, this was considered the first school of Chicago architecture down here.
Because the first skyscraper is just down the block.
Literally
Like,
right down here, like a block over.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense.
It
yeah.
makes a lot of sense. And that building was actually built, 7 years before this, 1885. So this is 1893 is when this
Right.
one was started. But this building was revolutionary in its time.
Yeah.
There's 3 buildings surviving that are like this. The
Wow.
Fisher building, this building, and then the Marquette building are 3 of the only surviving buildings that are this style
Wow.
and down here and represent some of the first among
So
Chicago history.
Right.
Boom. Quick little fact, this building was also about to be torn down. Preservation,
imagine?
yeah, preservationists had to fight to keep this
Yeah.
going. All the way to the point, long story short, I'll cut
It's
to the chase.
landmarked now, right?
It is landmarked
Yeah.
as of 2006. So you probably, if you're in the financial district, you probably see this
You know
all the
this
time.
building.
You know this building. Matter of fact, you want to go in and just see what's going
I
on?
do want to go in because I hear there's really cool marble on the inside.
Let's
so
go
I
in
wanna
since
go
the
see
history
it.
done. Let's see what we're talking about.
see
Let's
what's
get
inside.
it. Yep.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed this one and you got to see the cool marble in here. We got to see the outside. So come down and check it out. There's a ton to do on this blog in terms of like looking at cool architecture. So this is a great starting spot
Yeah.
if you want to see some really cool like kind
The
of
old
historic
Chicago history.
architecture styles.
Also, there's the Museum of Money.
Museum of Money,
Right
which
down here.
we still haven't done that, but
Yes.
we will. It's coming soon. And if you made it here till the end, go ahead and leave a little building emoji in the comments so we know that
You're
you
right.
watched the whole
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
that you
absolutely.
appreciate architecture, and that you love this episode. And of course, as always, give it a little thumbs up, subscribe, and send it to someone you love. And we'll see you
When we
next
see
Monday.
you. Peace.